Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630.
It is 8:07 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Coming up at the bottom of this hour, we are going to talk to a reporter from ABC News, Aaron Katersky, who's there in Newtown, Connecticut, to give us the latest on what's happening there. But first, you hear it. There it is. Hail to the Redskins, Brian Wilson.
That's right. Boy, did we need a break from all of what happened in Connecticut this week. We needed just a moment to sort of zone out and think about something other than that tragedy, and we got it in the form of a tremendous victory by the Washington Redskins. Our good friend Trevor Matich is on the line to talk about that game. And, hey, first, atop the NFC East. How about that, Trevor?
Who would have thought? Here we are, 1 week short of Christmas time, and the Redskins, if the season ended right now, the Redskins would win the division and have the first home playoff game since the 90s.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's pretty shocking.
And you've already promised me and Brian tickets to that game, right? You committed to that, Trevor.
Not just tickets. I promised to give you guys a suite for the entire season.
There we go.
Very nice.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Trevor.
I have suites to give away.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, this guy, Kirk Cousins, I mean, you got to give him his due. More than 300 yards in offensive passing, and he just got the job done when we needed him to sort of stand up and do it.
Yeah, you know what, though? What impressed me most, Brian, is how he finished after a difficult start. He started that game completing only one of his first 7 passes.
Yeah.
And he had an interception, and it was a bad interception, a bad decision, and a bad throw. After that, he completed 80% of the next 31 pass attempts through 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. I mean, for a rookie making his first start on the road and starting really, really badly, to turn around then and mentally be tough enough to make such a great performance is really impressive.
Trevor, let's talk about RG3. Was it really a game-time decision, or did they kind of know as the weekend developed that he was not going to get the start?
No, I believe it really was a game-time decision because he was able to kind of run around a little bit before the game. And we saw on Comcast Sportsnet a lot of the video of him doing just a workout with the doctors and trainers and strength staff, something that would just be normal for a player rehabbing an injury. And you could see that he could move a bit. And he felt like he could move a bit. And he actually said that he wanted to play. He thought he was ready to play. So I do believe that the Redskins staff got together and decided at the very last minute that it was better to look long-term for him and make sure that there was not a problem by rushing him back early.
Now, you've been somewhat critical of the Washington Redskins defense, and it was not a low-scoring game. If you took the over, you were in good shape yesterday. Were you concerned about how an offense like the Cleveland Browns offense could score like that against the Redskins defense, and is this a red flag going forward to these very important last 2 games?
Well, one of the Browns' touchdowns came on a short field after that Kirk Cousins interception early in the first quarter. And then the Redskins defense pretty much shut them down after that. They did a very, very good job, especially when it was crunch time. And what really turned around this whole game was 2 interceptions that the Redskins defense got. And really, Larry, I think the biggest difference in the defense turnaround since the bye week, they've won 5 consecutive games since going 3-6 into the bye week, is alignment and assignment. They were rotating so many guys into that secondary in new positions because of injuries and suspensions that you had guys that didn't stand in the right spot looking at the right guy and doing the right thing. So they would do okay, but then all of a sudden, bam, they give up a 70-yard touchdown. Then they do okay for a while. Then they give up a 60-yard touchdown, and that made the stats look a lot worse than really they should have been.
Let me ask you this, though, as we look forward to the next game against the Eagles have not been doing particularly well. They're sort of in free fall right now. Do we want RG3 out there this coming weekend if he feels like he's ready and the coaches agree he's ready, or do we give him another week to rehab so that we have him for that last game against the Cowboys?
Well, Kirk Cousins really gave them an option, didn't they?
Sure did.
And because now what they can do is, unless RG3 is just fully back, then they can start Cousins, dress RG3, and have RG3 come in if needed. Because the Eagles are reeling.
What about doing it the other way around? What about doing it the other way around, where you start Cousins and then you start RG3, but if you find for some reason he just doesn't have the mobility, that you put Cousins back out there?
you could do that, but then you expose RG3 to hits that might not be necessary if Cousins can get the job done.
Right. So it's better to, that does make sense. But again, I think I hate to even mention it and bring it up, but if Cousins continues to play like this, are we in danger of having some sort of, I don't want to say quarterback controversy,
no.
But if people are going to start saying, geez, let's stick with the hot hand. I mean, look what's happened in San Francisco.
No, that would never happen. RG3 is the man, and doesn't matter how well Cousins does. But keep this in mind, though. There are two things to think about when it comes to Cousins. First of all, he had a second-round grade and dropped to the fourth round in the draft when the Redskins picked him up. And that was one of those inexplicable things that tends to happen every draft to somebody. But now that Cousins has gone in and performed well in the regular season, the Redskins, if they wanted to, could trade him and maybe get a second-round draft choice, kind of replenish some of the costs of the trade of getting RG3. That's thing number one. But thing number two, let's not be too quick to trade Cousins out of here now that his value is going up to the rest of the league, because very few starting quarterbacks in the NFL stay healthy enough to play all 16 games. And RG3, with his style, is a guy that's likely to need a quality backup anyway.
That's right.
So,
and that's exactly what he has now. Boy, talk about a quality backup. And you know why, Trevor Matich? Because this is a Big Ten quarterback. And, that's big boy college football, Trevor.
That's where they wear their daddy pants and play football.
That's right.
Yeah.
What, their daddy pants? Well, apparently the daddy pants from the Big Ten is doing really well with the Washington Redskins as a backup quarterback. So very, 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 very good for them.
I mean, do I dare though talk about it? I mean, we look at the
Yes,
Eagles, and they are weak. They're in free fall. One would expect that we should theoretically have no problem taking care of the Eagles, and we've already dispatched the Cowboys in the past. So what do you think?
Well, yeah, they are weak, huh? Well, to quote a Big Ten school president about some non-Big Ten, non-conference opponents that are little sisters of the poor, the Eagles have lost 9 of their last 10. But they are not little sisters of the poor. They always play the Redskins tough. So the Redskins can't afford to let down here. But it's not too soon to talk about it, because the Redskins are a better team than Philly right now and playing better. They should beat the Eagles. And then, because the Giants lost yesterday to Atlanta.
Yes, thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Falcons. Then it'll come down to probably the Redskins against the Cowboys in the last game of the regular season to determine who wins that division. And imagine that. How long has it been since the rivalry has been important on the field?
And I am looking forward to that game.
Yeah, how great is that? And it'll be holiday week as well.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Trevor. Finish your thought.
Yeah, that's the great thing, because not to jump over the Eagles, because the Eagles could beat the Redskins. But the thing about the Cowboys rivalry is that over the last decade and a half, if it's mattered to one team to win this game, it's only really been the Cowboys as far as the bigger picture of playoff runs and things like that. All of a sudden now, what made this rivalry great as much as anything, which is it was super important in the bigger picture of NFL standings and playoff races and division races to win this game. That's part of what made it so important in the past. And all of a sudden, the chance of we want Dallas by the fans at FedEx Field, they mean something now.
All right,
Trevor. Hey, listen, you got us pumped up. Thank you for that. And listen, I understand you promised us the suite for the playoff game, but how about for the Cowboys game too, just as a warm-up?
No, you guys get a suite for the rest of this season, including at the Super Bowl and all of next year.
Thank you.